Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today I thought it would be fun to talk about my summer TBR. Also, apologies if I sound kind of sick. I have bronchitis caused by my allergies, so that's really awesome for me. An alternate title to this video could just be what's on my hold list from the library, because I basically just read whatever comes off hold. So today I'm going to tell you about what I have on my holds list, things I'm looking forward to reading in this summer time, and you can tell me what you are looking forward to reading this summertime. The first book is The Will of the Many by James Islington. Is that what the name is? I've actually read this before. I read this in 2023, I think, a little while after it came out, and I really liked it. I can't remember if I gave it a 4 or 5 stars, to be completely honest. I'm not sure, but I did really enjoy it, and I just wanted to reread it before the second one came out, because the second book is coming out in November, and so I was like, I should reread that. That way I remember more of what happens, so that when I read the second book I'm not confused. So basically this book is following this orphan boy, and he gets adopted, and his adoptive father's like, hey, I need you to be a spy at this academy, and he has his kind of like own reasons for spying there as well. So there is like academia stuff in there, but it's a lot of like politics as well, and I really enjoyed it. I remember I really liked it, so I'm excited to reread it and like remember what happens in it. I just remember at the ending I was like, what is going on? So I'm looking forward to reliving that experience. The next book that I have is The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong, and this is about an immigrant fortune teller traveling between villages. She only tells small fortunes because big fortunes come with big consequences. And then some people recruit her because they are in the desperate search for their lost child, and so she goes on an adventure with them to help them. This sounds fun, sounds cozy. I've heard it's very just like cozy, gentle, nice time. So that one's interesting, sounds interesting. The next one is A Drop of Corruption by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is the second book. The first one is, what's it called? The Tainted Cup. I don't know why that was like so difficult for me to remember. The Tainted Cup is basically, it's kind of like a Sherlock Holmes style mystery, but also there's fantasy elements, and the main character that you're following is like the Watson of the Sherlock and Watson. And in the first book there is a politician who dies, like a tree grows out of his body, and they're like, hello, what is this? And then it turns into like this big conspiracy, and it's really interesting. And also what's really interesting is like in this world, I think it must be on an island, because it's like the outer ring, which is surrounded by water, these monsters come out and they just try to like get in and like kill everybody. And so they have to like build these big walls and stuff, and so that's a big part of the world, is like that people are always afraid of these like giant monsters coming to kill them. I feel like I'm not explaining things very well. Hopefully I am. Again, bronchitis. I've had this for like 2 weeks, so my brain is a little bit funny. Funny? Fuzzy. Exactly. My point has been proven. Okay, the next 2 books that I have on hold are both Brandon Sanderson's. I wanted to get into Brandon Sanderson this year. I started reading The Way of Kings and I was like, I kind of don't care what's happening and this feels too long. And so I did put a hold on for the audiobook. So I'm going to try the audiobook and see if I like it a little bit better. But then I also put on hold for Mistborn, and I've heard a lot of people say that Mistborn is easier to read than The Way of Kings, just because The Way of Kings is like a very high fantasy, in-depth, epic tale, and that's why it's like so long. I've heard Mistborn is very long as well, but Mistborn, I think that it's like if the villain of the story wins, and then it's like what happens after that. And then The Way of Kings, I don't even know. I read like 200 pages of that book, and I have no idea even what it's about, to be honest. So we'll see if I like the audiobook better, and maybe it's just not for me, and that's okay. Okay, the next one that I have is Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. Sayaka Murata. And This is about a woman who's worked in a convenience store for a long time, and I think it just gets kind of weird. Honestly, I don't know that much about this. I know that a lot of people really like it. I know that people say that it gets pretty strange, and I think it's just about this like woman who works in a convenience store, and people are like, why don't you want more from your life? And she likes the convenience store. I don't. When I read it, I'll tell you more about what it's actually about. I don't know. But like all these books, I'm like, I don't even know what it's about. I just put it on hold. The next one I do know what it's about, and it's Network Effect by Martha Wells. This is the Murderbot series. Which number is this? 5? Yes, it's number 5. This is number 5 in the series, and this one is the full-length novel. So most of the Murderbot books are like little tiny novellas, and this is the full-length novel. So it's the 5th book, basically. In Murderbot, you follow a murderbot who has taken over their mainframe. They like hacked into it, and so they don't have to follow the like government control anymore, and they just want to like watch TV and not talk to people. And so I really have enjoyed this series because every book has kind of a new conflict, but it also still ties in with the general storyline and things you've been following from the previous books. But they all have a really nice complete arc. And basically in every one, Murderbot is just trying to figure out like what they want from life, because now they have freedom, and what does that mean, and what do they want to do, what are their ambitions, and what do they care about. And so I really like that. Okay, the next one is Little Theives by Margaret Owen. I heard about this on Carrie's channel, Carrie Can Read, and it is about a girl who is the adopted goddaughter of Death and Fortune. And then I think she gets like kicked out of like the god realm and has to work as a maid. But she's like kind of mischievous. So that's what I know about that one. Okay, the next one is The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackwith. And this book is about a neutral space in hell where all the stories unfinished by their authors reside. And they're the librarians of this library in hell, I guess, have to make sure that characters from these books don't escape. And one of the characters escapes, and they have to go get that character. I don't know, it just seems like really fun, like, these unfinished characters escaping and residing in hell. I don't know, it seems fun and interesting and kind of weird. The next one is called Mickey 7 by Edward Ashton. This is a sci-fi that I guess it just got turned into a movie starring Robert Pattinson. That's interesting. But basically, it's like scientists are trying to find a new place for humans to live. And, they test out on animals and stuff, but then at some point, like, you have to see if a human can actually survive there. And so this guy named Mickey is the person that they test on. And if he dies, they just like regenerate him. So I think it was like the 7th version of himself. And so I've heard it's like really darkly funny, and I enjoy sci-fi a lot, so I thought I would give it a try. The next one that I have, I'm tentative about, because horror, I don't like demonic things. No thank you, demons. And I'm a scaredy cat. But I've heard that this book is really good and that it's more weird than scary. And it's The Last House on Needless Street by Catriona Ward. I don't know if that's how you say her name, because it's spelled like Catriona, and that cannot be right. I think it's Katrina. Or maybe her name's Catronia. That could be a name. Anyway, what do I know about it? There is a boarded up house on a dead-end street, a teenage girl who isn't allowed outside, a man who drinks alone, a house cat who loves napping and reading the Bible. I don't really know, but I've heard it's really good. Like, I've heard a lot of people really love it. It sounds intriguing to me, and we'll see if I finish it because I get scared. And I'm not afraid to DNF. Like, any of these books could be gone in a second if I'm like, I don't like it. Because life is too short to spend time reading books that you're hating. You know what I mean? The next one is The Measure by Nikki Erlick. And this book is about, like, what if everybody got a string that told you how long you were going to live? And what happens? And I think it just explores various repercussions of that. Like, if you knew how long you were going to live, and everyone knew how long they were going to live, what would you do? So that one seems pretty interesting. The next book is The Book That Held Her Heart by Mark Lawrence. This is the third book in the book that burned. The Book That Wouldn't Burn. The second book is called The Book That Broke the World. The Book That Wouldn't Burn basically takes place in this infinite library, and you're following two perspectives, somebody who has lived in the library their entire lives and don't know anything outside of it, and somebody who was taken from her home and as a slave, rescued, and then ended up in the library as like a intern. And how their stories collide. Very interesting. The Book That Broke the World was incredibly confusing to me. I was really confused the entire time. So I might have to reread or like at least watch like somebody's spoiler video or something on those books before reading the third one so that I can understand what's happening, because I feel like there wasn't a huge amount of time between me reading the first and second one. Like a couple months, but not like years or anything. And I remember just being like so incredibly confused. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. My Friends by Fredrik Backman. This is his newest release. I don't even know what it's about. I'm gonna read it because it's Fredrik Backman. I love all the books I've read by him. So there's that. The next one is Vera Wong's Guide to Snooping by Jessie Q. Sutanto. This is the second book. The first one is Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. It's very cute and cozy, although I will say, the character of Vera is supposed to be like in her 50s, I think, and I'm like, Jessie, have you never met a 50-year-old? Like, she acts like she's closer to like 80, but it's a very cute and fun, like, cozy mystery. It's very found family, and the stakes aren't that high, but I found it very enjoyable to read. So that's the second one. And then the last one is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. I have this on hold because I'm going to be reading it for my What Color Reader Am I reading vlog. If you missed that video, go check it out. Basically, there's a quiz, tells you what color reader you are, and then gives you book recommendations. So I have actually started the first couple of books for that video, and The Road has a 12-week wait. So who knows when that video will be coming out, because sometimes those holds come in sooner, so we will see. But yeah, and that one is about a man and his son who are trying to find civilization after, it's like apocalyptic something. So yeah, those are the books I would like to read this summer. We'll see how they go. Let me know what's on your summer TBR, and let me know if you've read any of these books, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!